Good evening. It is Thomas the Hermit. It is late at night. And I thought, after watching out not very long, and it's already gotten many views, about the abuse or sexual abuse that is going on within the SSPX church. Now, I'm like trying to wrap my head around this, because they have such high claims, like the traditional mass, when I hear traditionalists that, they come at me on my channel, or they used to, they don't anymore when they found out I was not sympathetic to their position. I could never understand why thinking that hearing the traditional mass was going to make you a better Catholic Christian. I could never wrap my head around that. It never made any sense to me, because my thing is about relating with God. And if I relate with God and I interact with God, whether it's through the traditional mass or the Novus Ordo mass, then it doesn't matter to me. I can find God in the desert. I think most Catholics should be able to, or have they lost contact with what the church is all really about? Anyways, these SSPX people are like, well, if you're not doing the traditional Mass in Latin, then you don't know anything, and we are the ones who got it together. And I'm like, but see, the fact is that they have come out and they're showing how this church is behaving the same way as these bad bishops in the Roman Catholic Church. That they're having these problems with sex abuse, and they're covering it up. Now, I was not too aware of this. I'd heard a few things about it, but Church Militant, Michael Voris's ministry, Church Militant, has put out a video, and I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put a link on that, in the description below, and hopefully I'll be able to also put a link at the end of this video so that you can click on it and you can go and see. But I was getting very, very tired of these traditionalists coming on and saying, well, do you do the traditional mass? And I go, well, I can go to it, but, I don't need to. And they don't like to hear that. And these same people, have tried to denigrate Michael Goring for the same thing. Because Michael Goring, isn't, like saying, oh, we need to do the traditional mass. I'm sure Father Goring is not against the traditional mass. After all, you can say the traditional mass in the Roman Catholic Church, but the SSPX was born, it was born out of a bastard. It was a bastard child, Basically, during Vatican II Council, which was a legitimate council, they came in and they completely attacked the council, Bishop Lefebvre, and Bishop Lefebvre comes in and at some point he says, you know what, I'm going to ordain my own bishops, like he's a pope or something. At that point, the SSPX got in a lot of trouble. Now, if the SSPX is so holy because they do the traditional Mass in Latin, then why are they having as much problems in their church as the Roman Catholic Church when it comes to sex abuse? Your claims are very high. I would expect that you wouldn't have, or you'd only have a token amount of this kind of abuse going on within your church, but that's not what's happening. And not only that, because of the rigidity of your church you are even less transparent about it than the RC church. You are less forthcoming about the abuse of your priests than the RC church is. You know? And if I was you, I would be very, very scared of that position. I would be extremely frightened, to find out that the church that I was going to had an even worse situation than in the Roman Catholic Church. There is something wrong. And there's something wrong with the rigidity that you elicit. There is something wrong with the claims that you make. Holiness is not reliant upon a particular formula of the Mass. Holiness is between you and God. Holiness is you striving to do God's will. And y'all have become so religious that you think it is God's will. You know what? A lot of you are not very educated. The traditional Mass does not, or what you call the traditional Mass, the Trinidine Mass, does not go all the way back, to the 3rd century or whatever. It does not. The traditional Mass only goes back to, I think, sometimes in the 1850s. The so-called Trinidine Mass. The Mass has been under different sorts of constructions at different times through its period in history. Now, I can agree with some of you that the Novus Ordo is lacking in beautiful, sacred ritual. And therefore, it is not communicating artistically to the faithful, which is an issue, which is an issue. And I can agree with that. But that could be fixed. But this whole thing of the SSPX, which is not a part of the Roman Catholic Church, it is a break-off of the Catholic Church. And because of that, the Masses that are said by those priests is deemed as not legitimate by the Roman Catholic Church. So you traditionalists who don't like, Novus Ordo, when you look down on the Novus Ordo, you better look into your own church because it's nasty. It's as nasty as the Roman Catholic Church. And if you were so high and mighty and so holy and so together, how come the fruit didn't bear that out? So if you want to come to me and say, oh, the Roman Catholic Church, blah, 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 this, and that, but your very clerics of your own church have been watering down the whole issue of clerical abuse. And the same thing is going on in your church, so I really don't think that you have anything actually superior. I think that you feel comfortable. I think it makes you feel good or gives you a sensation, like you are, in God's presence. But are you connecting with God? Are you connecting with God, or are you experiencing some kind of emotions? This is Thomas the Hermit, challenging the SSPX. You're not so high and mighty. You're down in the dirt just like everyone else. This is Thomas the Hermit. Say a prayer for me. I am praying for you. I will talk to you later.